John Rich about the key to a perfect life.
Freedom and pursuit of happiness go hand in hand together.
The Pursuit with John Rich, available now only on Fox Nation.
One of the most impressive things that anybody in this country did in decades was to completely rehabilitate the city of New York, which many thought was lost. City leaders in the early 90s embraced policies that began with the broken windows theory of policing that actually worked. The city got safer, it got cleaner, more people moved there, the homicide rate collapsed completely. New York became one of the safest urban areas in the country, if not the hemisphere. So it is a tragedy, and that's not an overstatement, to watch the city's current leadership and the leadership of the Democratic Party reverse all of that in a very short time. State law in New York now requires judges to release the vast majority of criminals back onto the streets without bail. The city just cut the NYPD's budget by $1 billion. The plainclothes unit, famously effective, was recently disbanded because it was famously effective. So what's happening now? Exactly what you would expect. Criminals having their way with police, facing no consequences for it. We could play you a lot of tape. Some of it's too upsetting to play. We'll play you a couple. Take a look at this scene from the Bronx earlier this month.
Yeah, him over, Rata, him over. Out of here. Out of here. Out of here. Out of here. Yeah, whole lot. 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 Yeah, hold up. Boy, Rata, get out of here.
Assaulting a cop right in the middle of the street. That's not going to end well. This tape we actually debated a lot before deciding to play it, but we decided we would because it's real and it gives you a sense of what's happening. This is from Queens. 2 elderly men stabbed while riding the subway. That knife attack comes as the city experiences a massive surge in violence and shootings and murders and stabbings. Just last night, gunmen shot and murdered an infant in a stroller at a cookout in Brooklyn. We told you about it at the beginning of the show. City leaders are unmoved by this. They're still intent on removing the population's protection, defunding the police department. Watch what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez told constituents at a virtual town hall meeting just this weekend.
Maybe this has to do with the fact that people aren't paying their rent and are scared to pay their rent. And so they go out and they need to feed their child and they don't have money. So you maybe have to, they're put in a position where they feel like they either need to shoplift some bread or go hungry that night. Yeah, that's the view from BU, where she went, one of the most expensive private schools in America. Talk about privilege. Talk about disconnection from reality. The people murdering babies at cookouts, knifing old men on subways, assaulting cops. They're all doing it because they're going hungry. It's idiotic. It's worse than that. It's decadent. One group who knows exactly what's happening is the police of New York City. Record numbers of them are filing for retirement. That number soared 411% just last month. Of course, would you be a cop in New York City? No, you wouldn't. Carol Markowicz is a columnist for the New York Post and the Washington Examiner. She's been following this story in maybe greater detail than anyone else, and she joins us tonight. Carol, thanks so much for coming on. It feels like, and we don't want to whip up hysteria or mislead with the tape that we show, but it feels like things are coming apart in New York.
They are. Yeah, they absolutely are. I mean, just tonight, 5 people were shot in Brooklyn and Canarsie. It keeps happening. And, you know, the thing is that you can put up a picture of the map of New York City, and I can tell you which neighborhoods these shootings will happen in that nobody will care about. If a 1-year-old got shot in, say, Mayor Bill de Blasio's Park Slope, it would be a wall-to-wall story in every part of the media for many days. But listen, some neighborhoods are just, you know, people don't care about them, and the elected officials who are supposed to care about them just don't. Yeah, Black lives don't matter to Bill de Blasio or to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of Westchester. Yeah, no, it's absolutely right. So the police, I mean, we keep reading these stories about record numbers of police officers filing for early retirement.
What are the consequences of that going to be, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really rich people who believe in defunding police and saying, pushing the defunding police slogan are taking away services from poor people. That's literally what's happening in the streets of New York City. And for so long, we watched that kind of thing happen in other cities and thought, well, we've got a good control over it, and that's not going to happen here. And a lot of people came to believe that the safety and security of New York City was accidental, and there's nothing accidental about it. It was absolutely due to policing and good policing, and policing that was paid for. And defunding any part of that is going to hurt everybody.
It's worth remembering that the NYPD is regarded, not just in the United States, but by the world, as the most sophisticated big city police department that has ever been. I mean, NYPD consultants go to other countries to advise them on police tactics. So am I imagining this? The NYPD was never thought of in the past 20 years as being an abusive police department, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, it's one of the most diverse police departments in the world. Bill de Blasio enjoyed bragging about that in the days before, before 2020, and yet now he doesn't mention that at all. Yeah, it's a real problem that one of the best police forces in the world are being treated the way that they are. I've spoke to so many police officers who are they want out. They're tired of it. They don't want to be abused. They get spit on. They get called names. They get things thrown at them. They get shot at. And they're just not having it anymore, and I really don't blame them.
Just in 10 seconds, who would ever want to be a New York City police officer right now?
Right. Well, that's what they keep saying to me. They're telling me that they would never tell their kids to be police officers, and that was traditionally a very legacy job. Nobody wants to be a police officer right now.
Only the worst people are going to want to become police officers, and we should all be worried about that. Carol, thank you for the reporting that you do day in and day out.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Well, we're out of